The digital landscape is undergoing a profound and violent transformation, moving from a space of mere connectivity to an arena of existential risk, heavily influenced by the rise of sophisticated artificial intelligence, AI. While AI promises unprecedented advancements in productivity and knowledge, it simultaneously acts as an accelerant for global cybersecurity threats, creating a crisis that spans continents and sectors. This dual nature, AI as both a savior and a threat multiplier, demands a comprehensive reflection rooted not only in technology but in fundamental human ethics and responsibility. The sheer scale of financial impact underscores the severity of this shift. Cybercrime is now projected to cost the global economy upwards of $10.5 trillion annually by 2025. To put this into perspective, if cybercrime were a country, its losses would constitute the world's third largest economy, trailing only the economic powerhouses of the United States and China. This staggering figure accounts for more than just stolen funds. It includes the monumental costs of lost data, intellectual property theft, forensic investigation, and the catastrophic disruption of business operations. The primary vector for these attacks remains alarmingly consistent: the human element. Global reports confirm that up to 95% of all security breaches originate from human error, carelessness, or credential misuse. This paradox highlights the futility of an arms race focused solely on technology. The strongest defense must first be built within the individual, a fortress of ethical awareness. This urgency is reflected in the massive global pivot toward AI investment, which itself introduces new vectors of risk, complexity, and dependence on technology that demands gargantuan energy resources. In a significant move, Google's owner, Alphabet, announced a multi-billion-pound investment in UK AI infrastructure and research, underscoring the fierce international competition in this domain. This push for AI dominance is leading to the rapid construction of vast, power-hungry data centers. The industry's response to this massive energy demand is itself radical. Tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon are increasingly turning to nuclear sources, including small modular reactors, SMRs, to power their AI operations. This dependence on powerful centralized energy sources creates new, tempting targets for state-sponsored cyber actors and criminal organizations seeking to disrupt critical infrastructure. The threat landscape is no longer limited to data theft. It now includes the potential for widespread societal paralysis by targeting the energy spine of the digital world. Ransomware, already a devastating weapon, has been supercharged by AI, allowing criminal groups to automate reconnaissance, tailor phishing attacks, and achieve faster network penetration. State-sponsored groups, nation-state actors, pose the most sophisticated threat, capable of launching complex simultaneous strikes across critical sectors such as finance, energy, healthcare, and transport. Such coordinated attacks have the potential to trigger cascading crises, demonstrating that digital conflict has real-world, physical consequences on an international scale. In this chaotic environment, the most vital and timeless guidance comes from a moral framework. The concept of amana, trust or responsibility, deeply rooted in divine teachings. Amana elevates the management of data and digital systems from a mere technical task to a profound moral and spiritual obligation. When an individual is entrusted with protecting information, its confidentiality, integrity, and availability, they are fulfilling an amana. This principle is explicitly commanded in the Quran, setting a universal ethical standard for justice and responsibility in all dealings, digital or otherwise. The Quran states, "Indeed, Allah commands you to render trusts to whom they are due, and when you judge between people to judge with justice." Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 58. This verse provides the foundation for digital custodianship. Those who manage systems must do so with unwavering honesty and justice, safeguarding the trust placed in their hands. Extending this framework to the burgeoning AI era, requires recognizing that the development and deployment of AI models themselves constitute a monumental amana. Developers and policymakers are entrusted with ensuring that these powerful tools are fair, transparent, and do not amplify existing societal biases or inequalities. The job market is already experiencing the seismic effects of AI adoption, with massive displacements predicted globally. Reports indicate that generative AI tools could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs worldwide, particularly affecting knowledge worker roles once considered safe, such as those in marketing, accounting, and creative design. Conversely, the same report suggests that AI will create an even larger number of new roles, up to 170 million new jobs, shifting the focus to roles demanding AI literacy, ethics, and human-AI collaboration design. This displacement and creation dynamic is forcing a global workforce reckoning, characterized by anxiety among employees who fear obsolescence while also being eager to embrace AI for productivity gains. A survey by EY found that while 84% of employees are enthusiastic about agentic AI, 56% simultaneously worry about their own job security. This indicates a profound human readiness gap. This anxiety is amplified by a lack of clarity from top leaders and managers, many of whom are concerned about supervising AI-augmented teams effectively. The ethical imperative here is one of ADL, justice, and ihsan, excellence and benevolence. Justice in the AI age means ensuring the benefits of automation are shared equitably and that systems are implemented with compassion for displaced workers, focusing on comprehensive upskilling and retraining. The Quran places a high premium on justice and fair dealings, a teaching that must guide the economic transition brought about by AI. The Quran states, "O you who have believed, be persistently firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives." Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 135. Applying this principle means justice must be embedded in the AI algorithms themselves, preventing bias that could unfairly deny opportunities or services to certain groups of people. The second critical moral principle relevant to the digital world is the protection of privacy, rooted in the prohibition against spying and excessive suspicion. This ethical guidance from divine scripture provides a robust pre-digital legal framework against pervasive surveillance and data exploitation. The Quran warns against the breach of social and personal trust, stating, "O believers, avoid immoderate suspicion, for in some cases suspicion is a sin, and do not spy on one another, nor backbite one another." Surah Al-Hujurat, chapter 49, verse 12. This verse directly applies to modern digital espionage, system breaches, unauthorized data access, and the practice of collecting personal data without explicit, informed consent. It underscores that data, when entrusted, retains a sanctity that must not be violated, irrespective of technological capability. The proliferation of AI-driven deepfakes and mass disinformation campaigns further highlights the importance of the Quranic injunction against spreading unverified reports. In a world saturated with synthetic content, verifying information, tabayyun, is a moral necessity. The Quran instructs believers to be diligent in verification before acting upon news, a principle crucial for digital communication ethics. The Quran states, "O you who have believed, if there comes to you a disobedient person with information, investigate, lest you harm some people out of ignorance and become, over what you have done, regretful." Surah Al-Hujurat, chapter 49, verse 6. This command is the antidote to the rapid and often destructive spread of AI-generated misinformation that threatens democratic processes and social cohesion globally. On the defensive front, organizations must adopt comprehensive human risk management, HRM, strategies, recognizing the employee as the critical point of failure or success. HRM goes beyond simple training, aiming to instill a deep, ethical security culture among all employees, transforming them into the first line of defense. Building a culture of amana in the workplace indirectly creates a digital fortress far more resilient than any complex piece of software. This involves continuous, context-aware cybersecurity education that not only teaches how to follow protocols but why the protocol serves a greater collective trust. The urgency of this preparation is echoed by security experts who stress that companies must operate on the assumption that a breach is inevitable. Resilience, therefore, is not measured by the absence of an attack, but by the speed and completeness of recovery. This requires organizations to invest in analog redundancies and manual emergency plans, a low-tech solution to high-tech failure. The lesson from past incidents, like major disruptions to the airline support industry, confirms that carriers capable of switching to manual check-in and non-digital procedures recover the fastest. This demonstrates that true business continuity requires imagination and investment in non-digital backups, capable of being executed during a complete system paralysis. Internationally, the struggle to govern AI and cybersecurity is intense, reflecting the complexity of regulating a technology that respects no borders. Organizations like the UNIDIR and UNESCO are leading global discussions on AI security and ethics, emphasizing the need for frameworks that prioritize human rights and dignity. UNESCO's Global Recommendation on the Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, for instance, stresses transparency, accountability, and freedom from bias in AI tools, especially in education and research. Governments are trying to implement agile governance to keep pace with the dizzying rate of AI development, but a shared evidence base and consistent international standards remain elusive. The Agile Index 2025, developed by a research consortium, highlights the uneven global preparedness for AI and the crucial role of transparency in regulation. The United Nations Secretary-General has consistently called for a ban on fully autonomous weapon systems, AWS, operating without meaningful human control, citing the severe ethical risks. This debate underscores the fundamental question of power. Who controls AI? And will its development remain concentrated in a few nations or be made accessible for global benefit? The concept of the AI divide is rapidly replacing the digital divide, where millions without reliable electricity, connectivity, and affordable devices will be fundamentally left behind. Addressing this requires global solidarity and investment in sustainable digital infrastructure as a foundational ethical priority, ensuring AI serves, not undermines, humanity. The responsibility of seeking and applying knowledge, ILM, in technology development is another core Islamic principle directly applicable to this crisis. The Quran continually encourages the pursuit of knowledge, contemplation, and the use of reason to understand the universe and its phenomena. This mandate implies that technological advancement must be pursued not for personal gain or destruction, but for the universal benefit of mankind and the responsible stewardship of the earth. The very first verses of the Quran commanded reading and learning, establishing the centrality of knowledge in the human experience. The Quran states, "Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not." Surah Al-Alaq, chapter 96, verse 1-5. This divine directive places the development of science and technology within a spiritual and moral context, ensuring that knowledge is tempered by ethical purpose. In the context of AI, this means dedicating research efforts to solving global challenges, such as climate change, poverty, and disease, rather than purely focusing on profit or military advantage. It requires scientists and engineers to use their expertise as a form of worship and an act of service to humanity. The principle of istiqamah, steadfastness and consistency, provides a practical ethical solution for daily digital security. Digital security is not a one-time setup. It requires relentless, consistent adherence to best practices. Consistency in maintaining strong, unique passwords, regularly updating software, and consistently exercising caution against suspicious links are all forms of digital istiqamah. These small, repeated acts of responsibility collectively form the most impenetrable human defense layer against evolving cyber threats. By viewing these actions as an act of moral constancy, individuals move beyond mere compliance toward genuine commitment. The economic turmoil and job losses accompanying the AI revolution underscore the need for a global commitment to takaful, mutual guarantee, or social solidarity. As millions of jobs become obsolete, a human-centered approach requires social safety nets and a collective responsibility to manage the disruptive transition. Companies profiting massively from AI have a heightened ethical duty to invest significantly in the communities and workforces they are displacing. This is a crucial element of ADL in the age of automation. The complexity of governing transnational cyber threats necessitates unprecedented international cooperation. Cyber criminality operates globally, yet law enforcement and regulatory bodies are often localized, creating a significant enforcement gap. The rapid and effective sharing of threat intelligence across different nations and private-public sectors is essential for bringing cybercriminals to justice. Organizations must move beyond protecting their own perimeter and recognize that information sharing is a collective amana for global digital safety. Failure to collaborate allows criminal networks to exploit jurisdictional gaps and evade prosecution. Therefore, digital resilience today must be a blend of advanced technology, AI-powered defenses, and profound ethical alignment, guided by amana and ADL. The increasing sophistication of threats demands that we stop treating cybersecurity as a technical expenditure and start recognizing it as a non-negotiable moral responsibility. Every organization, from the largest corporation to the smallest enterprise, must integrate human ethical training with technological defenses. The survival of small to mid-sized businesses, SMBs, which suffer the most devastating consequences of cyber attacks, depends heavily on adopting this culture of perpetual vigilance and ethical responsibility. The statistic that 60% of attacked SMBs go out of business within 6 months is a global tragedy that underscores the fatal impact of neglecting basic digital amana. The AI revolution and the surge in cyber attacks are not just technological challenges. They represent a fundamental test of humanity's capacity for responsibility and justice. The path forward is clear. Technological brilliance must be tempered by moral wisdom. We must apply the timeless ethical commands of trust, justice, and knowledge to the newest digital realities. Only by internalizing the ethic of amana, acting as responsible custodians of data, systems, and global stability, can humanity navigate the treacherous waters of the AI-driven digital age. To join this vital conversation, deepen your understanding of these critical junctures, and ensure you are prepared for the future of technology and ethics, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe to QURANxINSIGHT.